What is up, guys? Malcolm back again from Majestic Skies, and this is going to be quite a unique video from what I normally post on this channel. However, something pretty crazy happened this morning that I felt like I had to talk about. So early this morning at about 7 a.m., a massive alert was issued for a huge number of people surrounding Toronto, and this alert was for a possible incident at the Pickering Nuclear Power Plant, which is just to the east of Toronto. This warning stated that there was an incident which was reported at the plant. There was no nuclear radiation which was released. However, people, I believe, within 10 kilometers of the plant need to be on high alert. Obviously, a lot of people started freaking out when this warning came out. I actually live way over in Ottawa, and I myself was warned about this incident. So a massive number of people were issued text alerts on their phones that there was an incident which occurred. Then, just 2 hours after the initial alert was issued, there was another notification which was sent out to everybody that said, oh, there was no incident, everything's fine. There was nothing which occurred and no nuclear radiation was released. Which personally I find very, very hard to believe, that an alert on that scale, which alerted millions of people, could have simply been a simple error, which could absolutely be possible. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist here, but I did notice a striking similarity to what the media response was following the 3 Mile Isle incident. I'll show you guys that clip here.
Radiation is measured in REMs. The maximum radiation a person should receive in a year is 5 REMs. Readings in the reactor containment building are now reaching 10,000 REMs. It is only a matter of time until this radiation leaks into the outside atmosphere. Gary Miller, the station manager for 3 Mile Island, now declares a general state of emergency, the first ever in a nuclear power plant in the United States. Metropolitan Edison has been slow to release information about what is happening. But at 8:33, the story breaks. Radio station WKBO in Harrisburg is the first to tell the world.
There is a general emergency at Metropolitan Edison Company's 3 Mile Island nuclear power plant. A utility spokesman said...
Word of the crisis is also finally reaching Pennsylvania Governor Dick Thornburgh. His Lieutenant Governor, William Scranton, soon appears before the press.
The Metropolitan Edison Company has informed us that there has been an incident at 3 Mile Island, Unit Number 2. Everything is under control. There is and was no danger to public health and safety.
10:17 a.m. Radiation levels at the top of the containment building could now kill a man in 20 seconds. Plant manager Miller now orders his men to break out emergency breathing apparatus. By 11 a.m., radiation is detected leaking into the atmosphere outside the plant. The evil genie is out of the bottle.
So obviously, very similar response. I'll show you guys a clip from CBC as well, speaking about this incident.
But let's begin in Ontario right now, where millions of people got a jolt early this Sunday morning. Their cell phones suddenly sounding a noisy alert about an incident at the Pickering Nuclear Power Plant just east of Toronto. But later, the alert was cancelled, and in the meantime, there is a lot of concern about what was really going on. For the latest, we turn to our Lisa Shing just outside the Pickering plant.
Well, Michael, the emergency alert went out just before 7:30 this morning. It gave a few details saying it affected residents living within 10 kilometers of the Pickering nuclear plant. It said there was an incident reported there, but that there was no reports of radiological activity and that residents didn't need to take any particular precaution. Now, also got confirmation from Ontario Power Generation as well as the Premier's office that the emergency alert was indeed sent in error, and it was sent by the province itself. A lot of questions as well around what exactly led up to this, who was responsible for exactly authorizing this alert. What we do know, though, Ontario Solicitor General sent out a statement saying this was part of training exercises. So I spoke with a lot of residents who've lived here for a long time. So living by this plant has been part of their day-to-day life, essentially. Some of them were a bit concerned when the alert went out, but a large part of them said they weren't all that worried. One woman we spoke with says it's because they undergo regular drills, and part of those drills involve sirens that would ring out if something major did actually happen. And this morning she didn't hear them. Here's what some other residents had to say.
I was worried at first, and then after, when they said it was a mistake, I was kind of irritated because that's a big mistake to just, to send out a bunch of people in the area. It's a blast to the community too, right?
Yeah, you kind of think, oh well, but you know what? It is what it is. So no sense in panic. So I got up, went for my run, and everything seemed to be fine. I got an alert in the run saying everything's fine.
Personally, I find it pretty crazy as well in that story when you hear just how calm the locals are regarding it. I mean, if I was even living anywhere close to that plant, I would be getting in my car and getting out of there. I mean, everyone knows the closest areas surrounding a nuclear power plant are going to get the aftermath of any sort of incident. They're going to get the radiation. They're going to get the health hazards. So for them to be so calm, it's just very crazy. I mean, people just need to wake up, like... Just because they say it's safe doesn't mean it is. I mean, they certainly don't want to cause an all-out panic and tell everybody that it's the end of the world and the plant is melting down. Historically has always kind of been what the media does in these kind of situations is they just kind of downplay the incident and, so as to not cause a massive panic. So, I do think something must have occurred. The only way that I think it could have been a total mistake is, they are saying it may have just been the government which issued this warning, so it had nothing to do with the plant, which maybe, you could probably say, could have possibly been an error, but for that many people to be, alerted, that's a pretty big mistake, and I certainly hope that somebody gets fired if that's the case. But me, myself, I'm just not really buying that. Obviously, only time will tell. I was curious and looked on Twitter to see if anybody's testing to see if there is actually any excessive amounts of nuclear radiation in the air, in the atmosphere around that plant. And I did find one person that apparently tested it. Obviously it's Twitter, so you can't really believe everything on there, but just because it hasn't been released into the surrounding areas doesn't mean an incident hasn't occurred. I mean, these plants are designed to contain radiation within a certain threshold, but still there can be pretty serious consequences when these sort of incidents occur and there's nuclear radiation kind of within the containment vessel or whatever it may be. And I do also want to state that I'm not actually anti-nuclear power. However, when you're dealing with these really old aging plants that just aren't being maintained, in fact, the Pickering plant is actually due to be kind of decommissioned. That's the eventual plan with it. I believe by, 2024 I read, somewhere around there. So it's actually kind of a plant that's close to being sort of just decommissioned, completely unused in the next few years. So it's certainly not a plant that's going to be getting a lot of upgrades, which makes it a little bit more believable so that something could have occurred. Like I said, I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm not trying to freak anybody out or anything. It is unlikely that there is a massive release of radiation or, hopefully there is no release. But only time will tell, going into the next, days and weeks, and we'll see what other kind of news comes out. So we'll see. I want to keep this an open discussion. Feel free to put your thoughts in the description below. And tell me, do you think I'm just a crazy conspiracy theorist that's just out to jump to conclusions and, assume the worst? Or do you think I make some valid points and there could be a little bit more to this than meets the eye? But either way, there will still be a lot more exciting content coming from this channel, lots more adventure and travel videos. So make sure to subscribe. I do really appreciate the support, and do keep yourself informed on what's going on with the plant, because it is something that should definitely be taken quite seriously.